hear any
I don't
sound.
hear any. I don't hear any of the intro.
Oh, that's because I put it past the intro. You want to hear the music?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll give you the music then, Michelle.
Gotta hear the music.
Yeah. How'd you know?
Do you want it right from the beginning?
It sets me up, Mallet.
Okay, all right, here we go, here we go. Back from the top.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome to Mallet and Michelle. I am Michelle, and here's Steve. Today we are deep diving into applied behavioral analysis, and I'm going to use it to study Steve walking around and around the office to get his steps in.
Gotta get my steps in.
And I'm sure Steve will get insight into why I trim my bangs at my desk sometimes.
Do you trim your bangs
Only
at the
when
desk?
you walk out, and I have a little mirror, and sometimes I have a little hair, and I just will trim it
Yeah, okay.
for sure.
Yeah, the wonders of Michelle in 2026.
Well, we have our guests today, Omar and Jenni Abdullah with Cielo Behavioral Health, and we're excited to have them here.
Yeah, well, we got to thank our sponsors before we get into that. I'm looking forward to visiting with them, but can't have the show without these wonderful folks.
Absolutely. Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
2026 will be the year of fun, and the best place in Dripping Springs to find it is the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
Jovi Belterra.
Luxury apartment living for people looking to live their best life after 55. Book a tour with Maryland today.
South Star Bank.
South Star Bank is ready to help you with all your banking and loan needs in 2026. Stop in and see them today.
And Mallet Integrity Team.
This is funny because we were talking about this before the show. We may not be trending, but offering outstanding service and exceptional results never goes out of style. I got through every one of those without stumbling.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of myself.
Would you like to trend? I could make you do something ridiculous.
All of the stupid stuff we've ever done is the stuff that people pay attention
Absolutely.
to.
I want you to fall into a pool again, for sure.
I almost did
yeah,
that, didn't I?
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, welcome to our guests, Omar and Jenni. Thank you for listening to our shenanigans at the
Yeah,
beginning.
thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah,
So good.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you guys have a pretty colorful history, and somehow you ended up here in Dripping Springs. So tell us, where'd you guys meet, and how'd you end up in this sleepy little town in Central Texas?
Oh,
I'm gonna let you tell the meat story.
okay, the meat
cute.
story.
Oh, wait. I hear that there was a sweater vest
Yes.
involved in
Yes.
this
Sweater
meeting
vest?
story.
That's a main
sweater.
character of this story, the sweater vest.
Okay,
I can explain.
okay.
So actually I grew up in India, Calcutta, India, and when I was about 15, I moved to the U.S. to California, and I had an aunt that lived in California, and so I moved in with her. My whole family's back in India.
So on your own.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I just was like, I used to play tennis, and I was going to go play college, and I kind of got injured and burnt out, and I just told my mom, like, all right, see ya.
I'm going to California.
Exactly.
I'm 15 and I'm out.
I watched the OC, and it was over. And so I moved to California, to Northern California, which is nothing like the OC.
No.
And I made friends with my first friend there. His name is Brett.
Very American-sounding California
Right.
name.
I
Can't
had
get
to-
more Californian than
I had to
Brett.
find the whitest guy to be friends
That's
with.
true. Sounds like you acclimated pretty well. You're
Exactly.
like,
Exactly. What's funny is the town that I moved to is called Fremont, California. If you know anything
I
about
know where
that town.
Fremont is, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a huge Indian community there, and so I there were more Indian people on my street in Fremont than in India, and so I called it New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Right. So Brett's sister was in college, and her roommate was Jenni. And so
Oh, okay.
I heard many things about Jenni, had a kind of a big crush on Jenni. I was like, this would be, she seems, this is,
I promised I wouldn't say
You know.
Jenni.
Yeah.
Jenni.
I mean, I was saying it then.
my whole life.
So I was interested. We never really formally met. We'd heard things about each other. I think you had heard some stuff about me.
Yeah, he heard all of my crazy college stories, and then Brett was Megan's younger brother, so I always thought of him as like this kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so then 8 years later, they were like, "Hey, Jenni's at this bar. Do you want to meet her?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's on." And so I
Go to your closet. This was a choice.
This was
Okay.
Well, this was a unconscious choice, which is what many of my choices have been. And so I wore this sweater vest, and she sees me, and I'm like, and I thought we're both being set up. So I'm like, oh, she's gonna talk to me because like we both have heard about each other. Like this is this is kind of mutual, and.
I had no idea.
She had no idea.
Really?
Not a clue.
They were like, they were like, oh, they made it seem like she'd be interested. So I show up and I'm wearing the sweater vest, and like she talks to me maybe a couple sentences, and I'm like, do you have a drink? Which is like the universal sign of, I'm gonna buy you a drink now.
Did you do the finger gun too?
I did a lot.
It's all about the finger
Oh,
guns.
bless.
That was me in my 20s. All
Okay.
finger guns, no substance. And
You are a lucky man right now.
so then she's like, oh, my friends are getting me one. And then she just left. And I'm like, this is the worst day ever. Like, I whiffed. And so she goes to the dance floor, and I'm like super, like I don't dance well. And so they're like, we're going to have to go dance with her. And so I just show up. And I think I did a lot of the finger guns.
Omar, that's what I would do. That's
Yes.
why I don't dance in public.
She's like, the guy in the sweater vest won't leave me
Jenny,
alone.
did you not realize this was
I had no
a
idea.
one-sided date?
this was
And
just
now-
a guy in the bar that came up to you as far as
Well,
you were
I
concerned?
knew that he was Omar. Like, I knew
Okay.
that he was Brett's friend Omar. And so my roommate was like, hey, Omar is going to be there. You know him, right? And I'm like, yeah, little Omar. Like, I thought he was a little child. And he shows up, he's like this 6'3" guy.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's Omar. Okay, good to know. But I had no clue that we were being set up.
Well, the truth is that she had some difficult relationships, and she was ready to settle. And that's really where I shine.
You wore her
like,
down.
She's like, whatever. I mean, I'll take anybody.
This is good.
Little Omar, big, who cares? We're all game right now.
So it was love at first sight, right, Jenny?
Sure.
There you go.
It was.
We really hit it off, actually.
It was. We've been
did.
together ever since that night,
Pretty
I would
much,
say.
yeah. We consider that like our dating anniversary, the night that we met, you
That's
know,
awesome.
because we hit it off. We went on a couple dates after
Yeah.
that, and yeah, the rest is history.
I mean, I bought her Jaeger, and that was it.
Oh, yeah, a
Dan,
Jaeger
it's
Always
all
Jaeger.
uphill from there. So you were at UCN Santa Barbara then?
I was,
Okay.
yes.
And Omar, were you in school then?
Yeah, I was finishing up undergrad, and then I went to grad school right after.
Okay, all right. How'd you like UC Santa Barbara?
I liked it. You know, I got to say I chose it because it was basically living on the beach for 4 years. But of course, you know, you kind of take it for granted. You're like, I went to the beach maybe 3 or 4 times the whole 4 years I was there.
I know, yeah. I lived in California when I was younger, and yeah, you think you go to the beach like 3 times a week, and you don't.
No.
Yeah, not when it's right there in your
That's
backyard.
where
No.
Sylvia graduated from Santa Barbara.
UCSB, yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful school.
It's
Beautiful
great.
town.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Super expensive.
So you lived in California. Y'all got married in California.
We did. Yep, we lived in the Bay Area. So I'm from the OC, which I'm sure it was part of the draw
Yeah,
for you.
that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a big Indian wedding?
No, much to his mom's dismay. We did not do the big Indian wedding.
No Indian wedding.
It was. I
It was-
kind of. I
it-
wish
what-
that we
what-
would have. That
what
would have
it-
been fun.
Jenny, what did my mom call our wedding?
She called it the Little Christian Wedding.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
It
like
was-
we're not religious. I mean, not really. Like, and so, and our officiant was the boss of my comedy club, and he's Jewish. So it was like a Muslim, a Catholic, and a Jew.
Walk into a bar
Classic.
in
To
a
a
sweater
bar.
vest.
Classic.
Have a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But actually, his mom really wanted us to go back to India so she could throw us the big Indian wedding, and it never happened.
It never happened.
See, maybe when you take her back to India, then maybe you could have your renewal of your vows.
We got our
into it.
10-year anniversary this year. I think that needs to
This
happen.
is the one.
We got to
There
do
you
it.
go.
We gotta do
Omar,
it.
have you not been back to India since you left when you were 15?
Oh, no, I haven't been back in about 12, 13 years. Yeah,
Okay.
around that. So, yeah, I mean, I used to go back yearly, and ever since, I hate to put that on you.
Starting to. This looks like it's me. It's me. I really want to go.
It's not. It was.
It's kids.
We were broke
you know?
grad
Yeah.
students for a
Yeah,
long
we were.
time, so it was
Yeah.
tough. Yeah.
And then COVID happened. We were supposed to go in
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
And of
You
course,
talked about Jenny having to show you about American customs. So
Yeah.
when you have gone back, are you back in culture shock because you're so Americanized now?
Man, it's been so long. I feel like before I met you, I could kind of live in both worlds, and but I think now would be difficult. And also, India's changed so much
Yeah.
in the past 12 years, from what I hear.
Yeah.
It's I was there in the 90s too, and India looked totally different.
What was the biggest thing, the change that you had when you came over when you were 15? What was the hardest thing for you to get over?
I think the hardest part was in India. There's a real sense of community with everything that you do. People go out all the time. a lot more socializing, a lot more like just free time.
Yeah.
Here, it's a very individualistic culture. So, and especially moving to a suburb, right? So Calcutta, the population of Calcutta, I mean, it's like what? It's got to be 6-7 million or something
Wow.
like that.
It's one of the biggest cities in the world,
It's
right?
the most densely populated
Yeah,
cities
yeah.
in the world. And so, there were just people everywhere. And then when you move to a little, sleepy town where like literally it's like 3 p.m. and nothing is going on, that's a really difficult thing to get used to.
Well, especially being a teenager too. You're
Yeah.
wanting to find people to connect with, and
Yeah.
you found Brett.
That's true. Yes, exactly.
Brett for a long time.
Yes. He's gonna love hearing about this. But I think what was difficult too was when I moved here. Like there was just a lot of inside jokes I didn't quite understand, and so I got really the way I kind of got out of my shell is I did a lot of theater, comedy, and I try to like do shows or things like that, and I had a tough time fitting in. And so what I did is I copied. You guys ever watch Scrubs? Yeah, I copied Zach Braff,
Oh, how funny!
and that
was your humor.
that's how I sound like this.
That became your American
Yeah.
humor.
Yes.
Can't
yes.
you totally hear Zach Braff?
Now that you say it,
It's
okay.
in
I'm
there.
It's
gonna-
uncanny.
Can you pull him up on the TV?
Okay.
Because I don't have any idea who you're
Yeah,
talking
you
about. I've
will.
never
Once,
watched
Oh, yeah.
Scrubs.
once I pull it up, you'll.
They're
So
doing
did you
a-
do like improvs and things like that?
Yeah, did a lot of improv, and I did it with this company called Comedy Sports, and so that was in San Jose, and I did that for a long time.
Did you think that was going to be a career?
Yeah.
You really think so?
You
So-
were doing like the stand-up
Yeah,
circuit for a
yeah.
while.
You're so this was before because you were a sociology professor. Is
Yeah.
that what I saw? Is
Yeah.
this before or after?
This is
This was-
this is him.
Oh, okay. Well, I know the actor. I guess I don't know the.
You got another show. You've seen it.
I have not seen it.
They're doing a revival.
Yeah, you've got to
Of
watch it.
Scrubs?
It's a
Going
really
back.
funny
It's
show.
such a good
It's a
show.
really
Okay,
funny show.
I will
Yeah.
check it out.
It's like a parody of a medical drama.
Okay.
Just like Grey's Anatomy, but
Yeah.
funny.
But funny.
It's
Yeah.
it's super funny.
But so the comedy thing was before or after?
Yeah,
the...
it was before. So the life that I lived, where I did a lot of comedy. I used to be a tennis coach. That was sort of my thing. And because after high school, I was like, I'm never going to college. Like that's not for me. I'm just going to coach tennis. I'm going to do comedy. And then I was in Florida coaching there in the hot sun, like 12 hours a day. And I was like,
God.
I should go to college. So
There's air conditioning in college.
Yeah, so that's I got into I did the whole thing, and then I went into get my doctorate in basically the humanities, and so that was kind of the thing, and so I researched. My dissertation was about comedy, so
wow.
So I got
What did your mom say when you said, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna not go to college and be a comedian"?
shock. She was like, "Oh man, that's a whiff." Well, it's funny because she was disappointed, but then when I went to grad school and I got a doctorate, it was the wrong doctorate.
Oh God!
She's like, not a medical doctor?
She was like, "If you are going to be a
Wait.
doctor,
You're
be
not a real doctor. Yeah, be a real doctor.
Exactly.
How did she describe what you did? She was like, Omar's going to teach us the meaning of life.
Yeah."
That's all she would say.
I think-
And then she'd be done with the conversation.
And it's funny because I think she thinks I'm a psychologist because
yeah.
she sent one of her friends to me. And she's like, "Oh, she's having a difficult marriage." I spoke to this. I'm not kidding. I spoke to this woman for like 30 minutes, and she's telling me about her marriage. And she's like, "What should I do?" And I'm like, "Leave the guy. I don't know."
Why are you asking me? I'm a
And you
comedian.
didn't charge her for that?
Hey,
a
maybe
copay.
that's a gig.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
side gig.
Yeah, that's one of my side hustles. There you
So
go.
when you did your sketch comedy, was there a subject that you leaned towards? Was it just your life or
I
more
was.
self-deprecating? Or
I love. I think growing up in a different country, you see the world so differently, and I'm always an outsider in a sense. Just I can see things, some of the contours, some of the contradictions in our society, and so that's always been something that I like to kind of use for comedic, content. And yeah, my experiences are big because I kind of lived that world. Stuff that's happened to me, stuff
Yeah.
people have said. I just think it's funny, and then what you do is you see how ridiculous things are, and then you take it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's basically been what I did.
I do have to say that Omar is something of a TikTok star recently.
Oh.
You can't call one video that like
It's been
5
Did you
people
go
saw.
viral?
2 viral videos.
Okay.
And
When you say viral, how many hits?
It's like, I mean, like what, 250K? That's
Well, that's a
nothing.
lot. That's a lot.
yeah, it's been surprising, but so far, or on his TikTok journey so far, he's been capitalizing on parenting humor and wife humor.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that recently went
Oh, so
viral.
he's making fun of you,
Oh, yes.
basically.
Yes.
I'm honoring you.
Oh.
Okay,
Sure.
that's
So
what it
Sure.
is.
when does your TikTok drop?
Oh man, I know. I need to do a response to these videos.
You should.
Maybe I
Yeah.
need to do like the other perspective.
Yeah,
should,
the
for
immigrant
sure.
dad perspective. Oh man.
He definitely is.
Yeah, we've never had a 250,000 one, but we've had some big ones. But it's always the stuff that is stupid. Like you think, why would anybody watch that? That's the stuff that people
People love
onto.
that.
I know
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
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 You
Brain
think
rot.
about one, you're like, oh, this is super creative, and then you put it all together, and like 12 people watch it.
I've always said I have a secret TikTok. It's shit Steve says. That's
Oh, that's so good.
I'm sure that's going
Oh,
viral.
that
right?
was
That's
go
getting
viral.
5 million views
he
as we
doesn't.
speak.
He doesn't
yeah.
have TikTok, so he doesn't
Yeah.
know. He
So
has.
wrap
Yeah.
this up for us. You guys meet in California. You're
yeah.
at school, tennis, comedy, UC Santa Barbara. How'd you end up in Dripping Springs?
The Bay Area is really expensive.
Yeah.
So we kind of made up our minds, because my family was down in Southern California, and my parents were ready to retire.
Yeah.
And we all kind of felt like we need to end up in the same place. And so we toyed with moving down there, and then they were like, let's just look at somewhere entirely different that we've never been before. And so we had been hearing all these amazing things about Austin. It was kind of that time when everybody was talking about
This is
Austin.
a really novel story. No one else
Yeah,
has.
no one else has done
Nobody's
this.
ever had this
Moving
story.
from California to Austin. What?
Yeah, really against the green. Yeah. Like the salmon that go in
We really are. We're
Yeah.
pioneers.
Yeah.
We're pioneers in our journey. But yeah, so we took a trip out here. We visited with my mom, and we loved it. We thought it was great.
So your mom lives here.
my parents both live here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they moved out here prior to you moving here? Is that?
We actually moved out first, and they bought a house in Lakeway and weren't quite ready. My dad was
I
still
gotcha.
finishing up his job, and so they bought a house in Lakeway. So we actually moved out and lived in their house for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, it's funny because so we're in California, and I was done living there 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we were just kind of, because grad school, all this stuff, and I'm like, once all this is done, we're out. And so we come to Austin, and it's like, and I love it because it's hot. It's just, it reminds me a lot of my climate
The
where I
Bay
grew up.
Area weather was not working for Omar.
It wasn't.
He's a
And-
humidity guy.
Yeah, just a totally different. And California, especially the Bay Area, it's with tech and all that, the development that was happening there, just a different vibe, right? Different values. And so come out here, we come out here for a weekend. We have the best time ever. And we're like, we're going to move here. And then I remember I got like a second interview for a job out there. And I
In
got
the
like
Bay.
so depressed. I was like, oh no, I don't want to live here. and then we're driving back from the airport to our apartment. And like, I'm just belligerent and just like super upset. And that was a sign that we needed to move here.
Yeah. So it wasn't too long. It was maybe a few months later. I got a job out here in ABA, and Omar followed me. Ended up working at the same company I did. So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then Dripping Springs specifically, we ended up building a house out here. Yeah, we just loved it. I got to know this area through work. I was always coming and seeing clients out here, and I just thought it was so beautiful.
And your business is kind of based, you were saying earlier before we got on air that a lot of your clients are out here.
Yeah. We ended up kind of carving out a little bit of a niche in Dripping Springs. We love this community. It's so great.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that because Jenni was a board certified behavior analyst at this company, right? And so I got involved. The founder. So what I was doing is I was doing the comedy stuff, and I was getting hired by some companies to be like, hey, can you and I did this for like some kind of more tech companies. They're like, hey, we have some. Can you make our engineers less weird? Basically, like, can you just help them be more engaging?
I'm married to an engineer.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Teach me your ways.
Yeah. Like help them communicate and all that stuff. And so the founder of the company that Jenni worked at saw some of that, or saw me kind of post about it. Say, hey, you could help, with our organization, because the way we work is basically we help skill building, right? So we teach skills to kids, and the idea is that we do that through play. and create learning opportunities and say, hey, if you're engaging, if our behavior technicians are engaging with our kiddos, then they make better outcomes. That's the whole idea. And so
Gotta be fun.
You gotta be fun. And so he's like, maybe you can teach them to be fun. And so it sounds like a fun
Which
project.
you wouldn't think is so hard of a skill, but for some people it is really hard.
I
to,
think
like,
it's probably impossible for some people. They just don't
Yeah.
think that way.
It's true. It is true.
I would think so.
What, to be fun?
Yeah.
I'm looking right at you. You're just Mr. Fun right there.
I have my moments.
You're fun,
You are
Steve.
so
plenty
fun.
funny talking.
I
Yeah,
can
you guys are
tell.
awesome.
Funny looking.
Ooh, yeah.
Burn.
So, give us the sort of layman's view of what applied behavioral analysis is, ABA.
Yeah, so basically ABA is a science. Everybody always equates it to the therapy and, autism spectrum and all that stuff. But really what it is it's a science. It's a science of behavior, and it's, really why any living thing does what they do. And so the way that we've kind of carved out ABA as a field is that we use the principles of behavior to shape and build behaviors that are useful to an individual. And so, what that looks like is anything that helps somebody live an independent, happy life. So, we teach things like communication, which is so important, to interact with the world. We teach social skills. We teach self-care and, kind of daily living skills. We teach executive functioning, like how to organize yourself and organize your mind and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm starting to think I may need this therapy.
Oh, it's so good.
I think you would, yeah.
I have ABA'd Omar for years.
Yeah.
I mean, this sitting right before you was a very different
This is your
thing
case study
before
right
I got
here.
started.
I had a like a fro mullet. Like, that's all.
Oh, I shaped that up.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I mean, I would say that the ABA is used in a bunch of different domains too, right?
Yeah,
Like
it
sort of
is. So
coaching
yes, I
and-
know that you were mentioning like working out, diet, stuff like that. It totally is. Like all of coaching is ABA.
Oh, okay.
All of fitness and diet and all that stuff is ABA. It's kind of funny, like if you're ever using like Noom, like the Noom app or the Weight Watchers app, like it's all positive reinforcement,
Yeah.
right? For like making healthy food choices, stuff like that.
So it's a process of helping somebody get a desired outcome of, they want to have some end result, and you help them with the steps to get there.
exactly.
One of the things I was reading was this 80-20 rule in ABA therapy. Can you discuss that a little bit about 80% of therapy tasks focus on skills the individual already mastered, and 20% is introducing new challenges, new skills. Is that something that you guys kind of use in your practice, or?
I've actually never really heard the
Well, there
80-20
you go.
rule. You're
Look at
teaching me
that.
right
Look at
now.
that.
Dude,
I
love
can
it.
definitely see that, though. I mean, yeah, we really, I guess if I can maybe break down what I think that means is we focus a lot on momentum. We focus a lot on, reinforcing all of the behaviors that individuals already kind of know how to do and maybe don't use 100% of the time, right? Like I know how to hang up my clothes, but I only do it maybe about 20. You answer that question for me, Omar.
20% of the time.
20%?
20%.
What are you kidding me?
So I think that's probably
0%.
Hey, it's a New Year's resolution, okay?
Oh, right.
So yeah, so I think that we focus on shaping skills and getting skills that are already there, more consistent, and then 20% I guess is devoted to creating whole new behaviors. Teaching skills that the individual has not yet acquired.
So a couple of the myths about ABA is one of them was ABA cures autism.
Yeah, that's definitely not something that we ever really want to advertise, because, we don't. So, yes, it is considered the treatment for autism, but really what it is teaching skills, and so a lot of what we've done is, sometimes we work with kids that aren't even on the autism spectrum. It's just, we're working with kiddos that have needs and have skills that need to be taught and shaped and strengthened. And so, considering it a cure. Also, as a field, we're kind of trying to get away from this kind of medical model as a whole.
Like recovery.
Yeah. It used to be a thing back in the day that they would say things about recovery and they would advertise the services as like, oh, yeah, your child is going to recover from autism. But now, we've had this wonderful, beautiful neurodiversity movement. And, we have really learned a lot about, being anti-ableist and really celebrating autism and celebrating, individual qualities that make a person who they are, and so kind of talking about, hey, we're going to cure this thing. That's not the way that we look at it anymore. We are going to make you the best you can possibly be, and give you skills and give you tools to navigate the world in the best way possible.
I have my middle son is autistic, and he's older now. He's 27, but and he did some ABA. But it was always a compliment for me, whether they always took it that way. I always said, thank you for meeting him. I would say, thank you for meeting him where he is. Not saying, you will be better when you're here. Like, okay, yes, he can improve, but instead of trying to fix him, you just met him where he was. So
I love that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Are most of the kids or most of the people that you're helping, are they on the autism spectrum now?
Most of them, yeah. And a big reason for that is because insurance covers ABA for an autism diagnosis. And so it has had a huge presence, in the autism community for that reason. But
you also take patients that do not have or do not have the diagnosis as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that was why we're doing what we're doing, is that a lot of the focus has been on the early learners that have an autism diagnosis. But as with any kind of diagnosis, there's going to be kiddos, individuals that don't meet the criteria, but they need something. And so,
that doesn't mean they don't have needs.
Right, and so that's a huge gap that we're seeing just
so
across
then
the board.
that's a self-pay situation because there's no insurance for that.
Right, yeah, exactly. And the way that we've been able to work around it with our particular model is that we offer, these kind of smaller parent consultation packages. So, traditional ABA is like you're doing, multiple days of therapy, you're doing a larger number of hours, but for parents that are like, hey, I can't pay for 25 hours a week of ABA, it's expensive, we do these packages where, we come into the home and look at, the environment, and we look at, the parent and child dynamic and the sibling dynamic and all that stuff. And we give parents the tools to be able to do this themselves.
Let's talk about how important, you touched on it, how important is it on parental involvement in the therapy for children? And maybe you don't have a parent that necessarily buys into the therapy, one or the other.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's something that we run into quite a bit. And it's so hard, we're kind of asking parents, to change the way that they interact with their kids. And this stuff isn't easy. It really takes a lot of practice and a lot of trial and error to, really create behavior change. And so I have to say that since I've become a parent, the way that I think about all this stuff has changed so much, so much. Yeah. I mean, when I was, first coming up in this field and I was a BCBA and, you know that these tools work, right? And, you have all this success under your belt as a clinician, like, hey, I've helped a lot of families change, behaviors and teach skills to their kids. And so you're kind of like, hey, you have to do this because it works, because I know, right? But as a parent, you're not operating in a vacuum. Like you've got other kids.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked about that before. Steve and I raised a nephew who was autistic, and Steve's son, and you still have other children, and so you're modifying or you're spending so much time on the child with I want to just use air quotes, behavioral issues or trying to modify, and then your other children are feeling left out in the dark.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, yeah, and it is really hard. And I think that's something that we've been able to hone a little bit doing this parent consultation model, is that you have to incorporate where the family's at right now in all of this. Like you can't assign some behavior intervention where you're like, okay, you're going to sit in front of your child and do this constantly without fail. Right. Like you have to incorporate, hey, is this feasible when your other child is having a tantrum? Is this feasible when you're on your way to school and you're late? Is it feasible when you're exhausted and overstimulated and just at the end of your rope? So finding a good place to start that works for the family and that they can feel confident doing. And sometimes that means that it just takes a little bit longer, but then we're there to hold their hand through the process.
What do you have sometimes people reach out to you for situations and you can't help them? And what does that look like?
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Yeah, so we really do have to make sure, that we are always operating in our scope, and so we can do things to the extent that, what's going on is observable and measurable, right? And so sometimes, we do have to collaborate with other professionals, in the case that maybe there's something psychological going on that we don't quite understand. Maybe there's something, something more that, isn't kind of our area of expertise.
Right.
And so, in those cases, sometimes we do just refer to a more suitable provider. In some cases, we can collaborate. We try to
Send
make it
him
work.
to Omar, the psychologist.
Yes. He will tell them the
got it.
meaning of life.
I'm on it.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Why do you think I was on the Department of Health and Human Services website, and in the year 2000, 1 in 150 kids was diagnosed with autism, and in 2024, it was 1 in 31. What's your opinion on that? Why are we having so many more cases?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I think a big reason is that, we've just gotten better with diagnosing and recognizing early signs. In general, also too, like the diagnostic criteria has changed.
Yeah.
Like we used to have this Asperger's syndrome diagnosis, and that's since disappeared, and it's been.
I was going to say, I don't even hear that anymore.
Yeah, it's now all under the umbrella of ASD.
Like on the spectrum.
Yes,
So, yeah.
exactly. So I think that in and of itself, and that's actually a lot of the population that we work with is these kiddos that, are just meeting the criteria, almost not meeting the criteria. Sometimes they don't, meet the criteria, but,
I would say like a lot of the conversations we have or, the families we meet, there's such a lack of resource with diagnosticians as well.
Yeah.
I think like this town, there's only like a couple, maybe 3, 4, or something like that.
Would that be a pediatrician?
That'd be, well, no.
A neuropsychologist,
It'd be like a neurologist or a developmental pediatrician, one of those.
And
or
like 3
Or a
days of
licensed psychologist.
testing.
Yeah.
So it's like there's only a handful, and back however many years ago, there was only 2 or something like that. I remember, and the wait lists were like months.
Years.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it took like a
years.
year to finally get your kid seen, and so there's a lot of attrition while you're on the wait list. So there's still a little, it's actually underdiagnosed sometimes, in certain cases. I would say.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of talk about overdiagnosis, but then also too, I just, I see a lot of kiddos that maybe should get this diagnosis and don't have it. So it is tricky for sure.
I think the thing that puzzles me, you must know more about it than I do, but it's like just the encounter statistics though. I mean, we're talking exponential, right? 1 in 150 to 1 in certain states I've seen like in the 30s or something like that. That's the big, well, I have no answer for that of what's causing it in general. That's something that I think puzzles us.
I'm the least qualified person on the planet probably to comment on this, but I think some of it is better diagnosis. But I also think there must be something going on.
Environmental, congenital, Tylenol. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the buzz. The buzz
That has received a lot of buzz.
That's the biggest. Yeah, I have no understanding of where that is, but all we see on our end is just there's so many. I call it like edge cases of like so many kiddos that just they need something, but for some reason there is no diagnosis, right?
Yeah,
that's a lot of the cases that we see. That happens.
Yeah. How old is too old for someone to kind of modify their behavior? Is there
never
such a thing?
too old?
Oh.
Never. It's never
There's
too
hope.
late.
You can
There's
do it,
hope.
Michelle. You can do it. I'll make you an appointment next week.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll work on that bank.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. They don't take our insurance, Steve.
So Jenny, when Michelle calls you next week,
Exactly.
and you need to sit down and come up with a plan for her,
Yes. That's
right.
walk us through that. So somebody gets a diagnosis, Michelle, and they need help. Walk us through how that works.
If she lived in my brain for just 2 minutes, she'd be like, that's
out.
it. She's like,
I'm out.
I'm going
too
back
much.
on, I'm going on the
Too much.
comedy circuit.
Vice versa. If you're in Jenny's brain,
Oh
my brain, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
dangerous in there.
Well, yeah. So typically what we do, the first step is to do some kind of assessment. So, that includes direct observation. So I might, see you in your familiar environments. And, if we can see, some of the challenging behavior or just some of the challenges in general, that's really helpful. But we get kind of a good look at, okay, what are the needs and what are the goals? And so, it's a little different, if it's an insurance, covered service or not. But, typically with insurance, of course, they give you so many more hoops to jump through. You have to, write up a treatment plan. You have to submit it to insurance. And usually that comes with, a recommended amount of hours. And so, it'd be something like, hey, we've got 10 goals to work on. And so we're going to recommend, 10 hours of ABA. It's not always, exactly 1-to-1 like that. But, we've determined, this is the necessity of the hours that you need. And so we propose that to insurance. They tell us yay or nay. Usually it's yay, but sometimes they have questions. And then from there, once we have the authorization, we put together a team and we come in and we start services.
And what would the services typically look like, or what kind of services are offered?
Yeah, so basically, we offer different kinds of services, but the more kind of traditional sort of model for ABA is that, you've got what we call registered behavior technicians who come in, and depending on how many hours you have, it can be one person, it can be, a little team of people that, see you on different days. And they come in and they're the ones that really do all of the one-on-one nitty gritty, I'm going to build a relationship with your child. I am going to, really sort of hone these skills, little by little.
Do you say this is in the home also, or this is
It can be in the
clinic
home.
too?
It can be clinic based, or it can be. We actually provide services in schools and daycares.
Oh.
Yeah. So depending on sort of what that looks like and what's needed, we kind of come up with a model for therapy. So, if we're seeing a child in home and they're, mostly working on, their daily living skills and, their social skills, then it could look like, we're going to set up play dates, for you to interact with your peers, and we'll jump in and help you when that's needed. We're going to, be with you for, your evening routine as you're unpacking your backpack and eating your dinner and, getting ready for bed. We kind of come in and we help establish structure. We help kind of provide support where it's needed. A lot of parents, need help with the sibling dynamic. My kids are always fighting, or we need some help with just flexibility, around playing together. And so we'll be there to support that. And then the other professional who's involved is the Board Certified Behavior Analyst, the BCBA. They are the ones that write the programs. They're the ones that do the bulk of the parent training. They work most one-on-one with the parents. And then they're also the supervisors. So they come in, they see the sessions, they make sure that everything's being implemented correctly and that everybody's thriving. That's typically kind of how it works.
There's hope, Michelle.
Thank you
There
very
it is.
much.
Yeah.
So without breaking any HIPAA laws but can you give us a success story of somebody that you came in and the parents were kind of at their wits' end and this child just really kind of turned around?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's been so many.
You were just telling me one on our drive. Not
I
this
was.
one, but like over the weekend.
Oh,
Older.
well, actually, yeah. So, we work too with a lot of older individuals. And so, we work with a lot of, sometimes as kiddos, get older and have a need to, become more independent, and maybe live out on their own and maybe go to college one day. We do work with, a lot of cases where, we are working. This is actually a perfect scenario where we're both, it's equally important to work both with the parent and with the individual, because while you're teaching the individual these, self-help skills and how to be independent, you also have to work with the parent to be like, I'm going to let you do this, right? And I'm not going to jump in the second that you're doing it wrong or you
I'm still learning that.
It's so hard. It's really hard. And so we've had, a few really amazing cases like that with across all ages, with like equally supporting the child and the parents in, fostering independence. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Omar, what's you work together? What's
Yeah.
your role at it's Cielo Behavior Health?
Officially, I'm like a arm candy. I think that's on my
Yeah.
it's on my
That's
business
his
card.
official title.
Yeah, I just try to look good.
That's what I am for the podcast, by the
Yeah.
way. So,
Come on now, solidarity here.
It's an important role.
Yeah,
The door
essential.
whore.
yeah, it's a process. Well, I handle. So Jenni's a phenomenal clinician. Wonderful at everything she does. And
You're
and
obviously the personality hire.
I'm the
That's me. That's what it says on my name tag.
yeah.
You think she's joking?
It does.
She
That's
actually
so
has
funny.
a name tag that says.
Yeah.
At our old clinic, we used to call him the jazz hands. Like, we come in and put jazz hands on everything.
Yes.
Oh,
so-
you went from the guns to the
jazz
jazz
hands.
hands.
He's expanded his
I'm
skills.
exalted. Yeah. No. So I mean, I handle all the back end stuff. A lot of the families who first reach out, they talk to me, and I kind of understand a little bit more about what they're looking for, and then I tee it up for Jenni, who talks a little bit more about the granular programming and what things are going to look like. And
You
then-
also do marriage counseling on the side, I hear.
I do
Yes.
marriage counseling. I'm ruthless, Jenni's not I mean, you're a numbers person.
No,
But
I'm
maybe
not.
I'm more okay.
I'm really not.
I wanted to say that first for her to say no, but I would say I'm more the business person. Would you say?
Yes.
That's
Ew,
fair?
math.
I know.
That's Steve.
How
He's
much-
always like waving a spreadsheet in front of my face.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much
yeah.
of your day is spent dealing with insurance crap?
Oh yeah, actually, man.
We have help with that.
We
Luckily
do.
now.
We have some great relationships with local vendors and professional services folks, and so luckily I don't have to handle too much of it. But there's random stuff that comes up that you
Yeah.
just have to.
He's
go
the
back and
random
forth.
stuff guy.
I'm
I
the
feel
random
like.
stuff guy. Yeah.
Maybe you need to get him a
Fires.
name tag that says
I think so.
just that.
Yeah.
I was reading on your bio. You said, where's it at? Career working at the intersection of business, culture, and human behavior. First of all, did you chat GPT that to come up with
That's
that?
actually what I do. No, that's actually my thing. That's
Well, can
That's
you
a
tell me
fair
what that
assumption, though.
means? I don't even know. The intersection of business, culture, and human behavior. What does that mean?
Yeah. So that's why my career is weird. But yeah, like as a professor, like my PhD was in cultural studies, and so like I think I must be the only person that's pivoted from something that like woo-woo, doctorate of like philosophy to like growth. So a lot of what I get hired to do is
His former cohort don't love him.
I think they love me. They never respond to my
He's
emails.
sold out. He's sold out.
Yeah, they're and so it's very so. I mean, I don't. That whole world is very anti-capitalist. Let's put it that way.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And then what I kind of became known for, and what I do is mostly helping organizations grow. So I've worked a lot in private equity and things of that nature. So I think I'm the only person that's made that leap, I want to say. And but I think that using that lens of culture, of how things can work, and just having that perspective, and then bringing that to business, and then also having the human behavior aspect of it with ABA, or just with the leadership development stuff that I've done. So that's in my past. I've done sales training, business relationship training for Dow, Boar's Head, these type of organizations. So I get hired to do that. So my whole career is kind of like an assemblage of all these different things. So that's
It's a
why I kind of put that.
cornucopia of chaos.
It's a cornucopia of chaos. I'm going to put that
Yeah,
on my
actually,
LinkedIn.
that may be a title.
Yeah.
of
That's
the
the name
show.
of his memoir.
Yeah, it's hard to put me in a box.
Start at chapter 11.
Yeah.
Don't even start at chapter 11 for sure. So you guys, y'all have an amazing marriage, working relationship. It's just the energy that comes off of you is very, it just feels good being around you guys. What do you do for fun outside of work? Because you're working together,
Yeah.
you're living together, you're
Yeah.
raising children together. And I hear that you had a hit trans trance song.
Very different things.
Okay,
past
country
life.
trance.
By the way,
Yes.
Jenny, I had never heard that term until this morning when
Really?
I had never heard the term
EDM?
trance.
It's a
song.
little bit
Never
more
heard
of a
that.
fringe genre,
Yeah.
I have to say. So there was a time when like EDM music, like electronic dance music was like, that's all that
Yeah.
music was. Like it was like, back when all this stuff was happening with the trance stuff, it was like every song on the radio was EDM and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically when I was in college, I had this friend, he went on to work in ABA, and he's
He
also
introduced
a
you-
fellow
he
BCBA.
introduced you to
He
ABA.
introduced me to ABA.
Yeah.
So here's the story. So we were just kind of like, goofing off, in college, like in his apartment, and he was a producer. Like that's what he did on the side. He was like an EDM producer, and he's like, hey, I made this track. Do you want to like try singing on it? And I was like, okay. So then, I just, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I just sang on it. We wrote some of the lyrics together, like made this song. And he's like, yeah, I'm a trance producer. And so I shop these songs around to, these big producers. So next thing I know, and I also had no idea about this genre.
I was trying to find it. So while you're talking, I want you to tell me if I can find it
Oh,
somewhere.
there you
Yes,
go.
it's on Spotify.
Oh, but I don't know if I can.
It's,
get it
it's
on here.
anywhere.
It's
Yeah.
it's anywhere. It's called Fallen In Too Deep.
Fallen.
Fallen.
Yes, Fallen in too deep.
In-
It's like TOO.
two words?
In too
Into.
deep. Like I'm in too deep.
In too deep. Should I say trance?
Trance, yeah. So
That's the one. The first one
Right
right
there.
there.
Look at
Yes.
that.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see.
Okay, well, while
Does
you're
it sound
talking,
oh
up?
gosh, this is so embarrassing.
Oh, Jenny hates this.
Steve, ready? Get your finger pointers out.
Is that the original, Jen?
Oh, I think this is a remix.
Yeah, I think this person took
So-
it and was like,
They did like a bunch of remixes of it, which was wild to me. Like I was just randomly finding it online. Like all these people did remixes. Yeah, it got picked up by this big trance producer and this like record label called
How many
Armada.
people watch that?
if you go to the original, I think it's like,
I have to
if
wear
you go
my
back.
glasses. Let's see. I have to put my glasses on.
If you go back, I'll show you the original. I was a
Oh
Jenny.
my gosh, he like knows
Right
this.
here?
Yeah, no, it's the next one down.
This one?
yeah.
That one, yeah.
So
Armada
this
music.
was put on I don't know if you've heard of Armin van Buuren, but it was put on his like what do you call it? Like he does like a compilation.
This sounds
That's
like
still, I think
disco
that's still
music
a,
from the 90s.
it's still a remix.
That's still a remix. Yeah. There's a bunch of different versions, but
But yeah, it was crazy.
Steve is very confused at this
I
moment.
am confused.
You just kind of close your eyes.
Good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Feel it, But yes, it made like all the club circuits, like it was, all over Europe, and it was really weird to me because I wasn't expecting it. But then all of a sudden, because everybody was on Facebook back in the day, I was getting all these random Facebook requests from like people, in like Russia and Spain and Italy.
you
and,
like huge like South American
yeah,
people.
and then all these messages
You're like the
your
David
track changed
Hasselhoff
my
of
life.
trans.
Yeah,
Exactly.
basically.
That's a
Yeah.
great analogy. That's funny.
Yeah. So I seen this, like this was 2009, right? So I was 19 at the time. I saw this and I was like, man, this is just adding to Jenny's lore. One day I'm gonna
lore.
see her.
Jenny's lore. That's great.
One day.
Yeah.
Omar, the sweater vest.
Oh yeah. I was like, I'm gonna keep this sweater vest just for this moment.
Omar,
Still has it.
I don't want to drag politics into
Yeah.
this, but you immigrated from
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
What's your take on the current policies and
Oh my
things that are
gosh.
happening?
There's so much there. It's actually I know and I get snippets, right? So my parents still live
Yeah.
out there, and so there's I know the big moves have been H-1B visas, right? That's a big topic of discussion, and then the tariffs. That's
Yeah.
the other piece. That's the other topic of discussion, and it's so. I think that from what I've observed with H-1Bs. So much of it, I look at this again. My training was mostly in like history, right?
Right.
Like so, I taught history, and so a lot of what you see actually, and there's a book out by Andrew Ross Sorkin about the 1929 crash, right? Not that I'm saying there's a crash here,
No.
but I'm just saying like history. Have you guys ever heard the saying of like history may not repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme?
I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that if you look back at history in the 1920s, you had a similar kind of discussion about immigration. There was a whole act in 1924 about this. And so I think like we're just having a fundamental conversation about what it means. What does the economy look like? Because you can't really take these things in isolation of the policies that are being talked about or rolled out without looking at deindustrialization in the 60s, 70s, free trade that happens in the 90s. And so this was always a reckoning that was going to happen. This is my roundabout way of saying that I think we're trying to figure out what the economy looks like.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to figure out what does American production capacity, labor look like. And I think the process of getting there is going to be a messy conversation.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to I think right now it's very easy to say like, what the heck is going on? Because I know a lot of people in India are upset with the H-1Bs or with the tariffs and things of that nature.
Yeah, my husband's an engineer, so it really affects the semiconductor industry. And
Yeah. And so I think like my perspective is I think the book hasn't been written yet.
Yeah.
And I think that we kind of need to see a little bit more of where things are going to go, whether to understand, because I think there's a lot underneath the surface here.
Yeah, it's a really dynamic time. It's like you can't put your finger on where the world is. Like every day you get up and you read the news, it's like it's shifted and things are different,
Yeah. I think, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say this, like the Maduro thing over the weekend. It was like, I just figured another news day and I popped open a news app. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's like these things are, and I'm not commenting on whether that was right or wrong. I'm just saying, God, the world is changing so quickly.
It is. I think, one thing I will say is that in the 90s, there was a theorist or like a policy person, Francis Fukuyama, and after the Soviet Union fell, he had a very famous saying. He said, "This is the end of history as we know it," meaning that the way in which the world is going to function is through, liberal democracies will prevail. There's one unipolar power, which is the U.S., and I think that now we don't live in a unipolar world. We live in a multipolar world.
Right.
If you look at what's happened with China, with DeepSeek, if you look at what's, with Russia and India, Brazil, all these countries, they've just upped their game so much. And so I think the United States is sort of grappling with where are we in all this? And, we have a legacy relationship with Europe. But to me, the whole Venezuela thing has basically been like, hey, I mean, this is my perspective. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that we're trying to figure out like what are we doing in the Western Hemisphere as an area of focus. So again, I just think we're all trying to figure out where we all sit with all this. And I think while it's happening, it's really hard to have a conclusive kind of statement on it.
Right.
Because what I'm seeing today, if someone had told me a year ago, I would think it'd be crazy.
I know. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. The things that have happened in the last 4 or 5 years, like that have become part of our everyday lives, like ChatGPT and Waymo taxis and things. Like 5 years ago, you'd have been like, no, that's not ever happening.
Podcasts.
Hey, you know what? In downtown Austin, when you go down there early in the morning on a Saturday, almost every car on the road will not have a driver. Right. It will be run by a robot. And people 5 years ago, you'd have said, "Oh, you're stupid."
Yeah.
And there we are. We're living in that world right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
Well, I think that the American dream has worked out very well for you in that sense, right? You're living and breathing that.
I have one more question about that. I'm throwing you a curveball because you said you studied history. I've always been fascinated with the India caste system.
Yeah.
Did you ever study that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So the idea of that was there was 4 different castes, right? And you were born into one caste.
Yeah.
That was where you stayed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the United States where you could be born poor and you live in a shack and grow up to run a company or whatever.
Yeah.
So give me your take on the caste system. It was outlawed in the 40s, but apparently there's still a little bit of it there.
It still prevails in some form or facet. And again, it's so interesting having a lived experience in India until like the early 2000s, and now like seeing what it is, it's a lot. It's totally different.
Sure.
But I would say that the whole notion of the caste system, right. So it was this idea of categorization of society. You're born into a certain caste. Right. That was your life in some sense. And then the big move actually by the British was that they wanted to outlaw the caste system,
Right.
right? And they
Which
wanted
I
to.
think they did that in 1947.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. The independence happened around that time as well. So, but I think that like from what I've observed, there was other kinds of practices too. I don't know if you knew Sati. That's another SATI,
that.
and so that was a practice about if your husband died in battle, the wife would like self-immolate, right? So
geez.
that was
Wow.
that was a
Holy
practice,
cow.
right? And so, but it's so complicated because a lot of the practices were outlawed by the British, who were a colonial power, and so it's like. And then what that does is has unintended consequences of further stratifying society. I will say, like from my perspective, I grew up in I guess it's hard to put it this way, but my father's family is Muslim. I didn't grow up religious. My dad was certainly not religious. My dad actually my name is Omar Abdullah, which is like the most Muslim name ever. Like literally, they could have just named me Muslim. And but my dad was not really. He actually was he's actually like a yogi.
Really?
He was a traveling
He was
yogi.
a mystic. He was really cool, and so he was taught everything about meditation. And he has a fascinating life. He came to this country with like $48 in his pocket or something like that, and he taught yoga and did all this stuff. And anyway, so he passed away a couple years ago, and but he there was a lot of division between Hindus and Muslims. It's still it's actually ratcheted up from what I hear now, but from our perspective. Like from my family, we were originally in the 1700s. We were actually all Hindus. So I was actually I think from my dad's side, we were the merchant class, which is Division 3. I talk about like colleges. No, okay, but but then they all converted to Islam, which there was a whole Mughal dynasty that happened there. So what I'd say is that currently, I'm sure there's vestiges of that within India still prevailing. One thing about India or anything in what we consider in that kind of world is that a lot of the economy kind of functions or the society functions in a very informal perspective. So there's a lot of informality, right? So like for example, when you buy a house in India, I don't know if you know this, but they call it white money and black money. So the white money is like what the value of the home is as determined, what taxes you're going to pay on it. And then there's like what you got to pay in black, which is under the table. So like what I love about that example, I don't know if it happens anymore. Again, this was like 12 years ago. I would hear these things. But what I love about that is that basically like informality is like memorialized.
It's in the system.
In how things happen.
Yeah.
I know things have changed now. They've digitized a lot of currency, but I will just say that I think parts of that still prevail today.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think the history of India is probably one of the most fascinating histories on the planet. I mean, the U.S. history is fascinating as well, but I mean, the changes that country has gone through and the level of poverty that was there in the early 1900s to where it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's technology and companies there, and there's all kinds of things going on. It's crazy.
How important is for both of you guys as a couple, though, you're a mixed race couple, to honor your culture that you live in now and where you came from for your children?
That's a good question. I keep telling him to teach Sabine Hindi.
Yeah, and Bengali. That's another one. Yeah,
She's so capable of it.
She could hang. Yeah. I think it's huge too. I mean, I would say Jenni is you're half. Well,
We have a lot of cultures
we have
going on.
yeah, exactly. Jen, you're what are you half?
Oh man, I'm a quarter Filipino. I'm a quarter Chamorro, like from Guam. And then my mom is a bunch of European, like Italian, German, Irish, English. And so my 23andMe is a nightmare.
It really is. It's like remember those old Benetton commercials from the 1990s? That's Jenni's.
It makes you want to throw up. Like, it's horrible.
What I love is so we'll talk about it. So I'm my mom is from Bangladesh originally, so I'm half Bengali, half like Indian, and like all the things. And so your mom always goes like, well, don't forget the Italian now. Right? She's like, you always mention it last. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it is. I would say it's really important. I think that I really want the kids to especially see where I grew up. I think that's big. I mean, you haven't
I
even
think
seen
that's
it.
huge.
I think you need to
I know.
schedule a trip in your
I
future
do.
here.
So-
you
I
just
do.
need to do it. Now if there's anything we've learned as the older we've gotten, the more you sit there and you plan and you think about it, the more it's not going to happen. You
Yeah.
just
So
gotta
true.
you gotta set it. You
Bite
gotta
the
set a
bullet.
time and you say, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to make
Pull
it
those
happen no
guns out
matter
and
what.
pull the trigger. Boom, boom, boom,
Put
boom.
that sweater vest on,
Right.
Omar.
Gotta wear the
Yeah.
sweater vest.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Calcutta Cannon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about that. What was that about?
Yeah, so I started playing tennis again. So my stepdad was actually he's a tennis player back in the '60s, '70s, and he was back then they didn't have ranking, but he like got to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon. You know, like
wow.
I'd say he'd be like top 10 is what
Yeah.
we'd understand right
Wow.
now. And so I played. He was amazing. I got opportunity because of nepotism, and so
At
I
least you're
Nepo
honest,
baby.
right?
all I had was in my tennis repertoire is I had a big serve. That's all I had. I mean, everything else is kind of
That's
just.
what she said.
That's boom, and so they called me in high school tennis. They called me the Calcutta Cannon. I had a big serve, but I had no clue where it was going to go, and it was just like
It was 100 miles an hour, but who knows where it's going.
I actually did better when I didn't even like look at it.
It's kind of like when I go shooting. I just
Oh,
close
yeah,
my
exactly.
eyes and it just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us, but we need to give you a chance. If people think they have a need for ABA, how do they find you?
Yes.
They may need it after this podcast. Let me tell you. That
We did jump around, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sure
I love
did. So you can find us at cielobehavior.com. And there's information about our services, about us, all of the things on there.
And it's CIELO.
Yes, sky in Spanish. Cielo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information on there. I got on there this morning and looked around. So, well, we're really blessed to have you two living in our little community. And,
You guys have been a
even
lot
though
of
you came
fun.
from California,
this has
yeah,
been so
we're
fun.
welcome. We love having you guys here. And I
Steve
know.
came from California too.
Yeah.
Just wanted to let
Hey,
you know.
I'll tell you this.
To let you know.
If I can just say, I remember when I first moved out here, I would go to doctor's offices, to talk about the organization or like ABA therapy and things of that nature. And I'd travel to some rural parts of Texas and they'd ask me, hey, where are you from? And I'd be like, oh, goodness. The answers to these questions are India, which I don't think is the right answer, or California, which I know is not the right
not the right
answer.
answer.
So I would just tell them. One time I was driving, I saw this town called Seguin.
Oh, jeez. Well, you pronounced it right.
Well, he didn't at first.
Which was the
He learned
giveaway.
the hard way.
And so they were like, so when I did say I was like from Seguin, and they're like, oh, okay. And then one person was like, oh, I'm from Seguin, where? And I panicked and I just said downtown.
Where'd you go to
Downtown.
school? Seguin High, of course.
I think if you said India, boy, there's a whole conversation that
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
go
yeah.
the way you want it
Yeah,
to
there was
go.
no right
Yeah.
answer to that question.
Pass.
Just Seguin.
Well, thank you guys both for
Thank
joining
you
us,
so
Omar and Jenny,
much.
and I really enjoyed this time. We covered a lot of ground.
We did.
but,
We had some good laughs. You guys are great people.
Oh, you
It's
guys are
very-
lovely.
and
So
we wish you great
amazing.
success.